Possessing mental fortitude is crucial for success in life. It's a hidden capacity that enables you to persevere, even when things get difficult. Mental resilience aids in addressing issues, adhering to your goals, and confronting challenges with tenacity, particularly when your talents and skills aren't enough. This piece focuses on key Buddhist principles and their connection to 10 habits that can weaken your mind. If we understand and apply these principles, we can start our journey towards building a stronger, more resilient mind. Habit 1. Possessing a pessimistic attitude. A pessimistic outlook is like a dense cloud that obscures the radiant sun of our inner joy. This habit weakens us mentally as it paints our life with shades of gloom and desolation. When we focus incessantly on the negatives, we overlook the positive aspects surrounding us. It's like donning dark shades, making everything seem dull, even the beautiful moments. If we persist in negative thinking, we start to believe that everything is terrible and that achievement and joy are unattainable. This mental perspective becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, influencing our actions and choices. We might become hesitant to take risks or explore new ventures because we've convinced ourselves they're bound to fail. To combat a pessimistic mindset, we can turn to Buddhist teachings. One crucial principle is mindfulness, which involves being cognizant of our thoughts without judgment. Instead of allowing negative thoughts to dominate, we can recognize them and then choose to concentrate on positive elements. It's akin to clearing the clouds to let the sun shine through. Buddhism also advocates the practice of metta, or loving-kindness meditation, which comprises of sending warm, positive thoughts towards ourselves and others. Through regular practice of metta, we gradually transform our mindset from negativity to one that's more empathetic and optimistic. The Buddhist concept of impermanence teaches us that change is the only constant. The difficult times will fade away, just like the happy ones. With this understanding, we can confront challenges with a more resilient mindset, realizing that hardships aren't everlasting. By adopting these Buddhist principles, we empower ourselves to liberate from the shackles of negativity, fostering a positive and robust mind. Habit number 2. Grumbling about things beyond your control. Grumbling about things beyond our control is tantamount to holding on to burning coal. It only causes us harm. This habit weakens our mental strength as it shifts our focus on problems rather than on devising solutions. It's similar to being stuck in quicksand. The more we grumble, the further we sink into negativity. Buddhist teachings highlight why this habit debilitates us mentally and how we can liberate ourselves from its grasp. When we grumble, we often overlook the principle of impermanence that Buddhism emphasizes. Complaining can lead us to feel that things will never improve, ensnaring us in a cycle of dissatisfaction. Instead of viewing challenges as transient, we make them appear as lasting issues. To combat the habit of grumbling, we can practice acceptance. This entails understanding that life involves highs and lows, and we can't control everything. Acceptance is similar to learning to dance in the rain instead of bemoaning the storm. By accepting what we can't change, we relieve ourselves from the significant strain of chronic complaint. Buddhism also urges us to concentrate our energy on things within our control. It's akin to steering a boat during a storm. We might not control the weather, but we can navigate our vessel. By taking action where we have influence, we transition from a passive complaining state to an active problem-solving mindset. In Buddhist teachings, letting go is key. To let go is another potent practice. It's like releasing a balloon. You feel lighter when you unload unnecessary burdens. Letting go doesn't equate to surrendering. It means loosening the tight grasp on complaints and creating room for positive transformations. By incorporating these Buddhist principles into our lives, we learn to tackle challenges with an equanimous mind, acknowledging the transience of situations, and channeling our efforts where we can make an impact. In doing so, we free ourselves from the stranglehold of complaints and nurture a mental resilience that propels us forward, even in the face of adversity. Habit number 3. Suppressing your feelings. Suppressing your feelings is like owning a treasure chest but keeping it locked away. This habit debilitates our minds because it prevents us from sharing our thoughts, emotions, and ideas with the world. It's akin to navigating a dark room without switching on the lights. Things can become perplexing and overpowering. Buddhist teachings guide us to understand why this habit undermines us mentally and how we can liberate ourselves from its confines. In Buddhism, expressing oneself genuinely is considered crucial for building a robust foundation for mental well-being. When we suppress our thoughts and feelings, it's like bottling up a fizzy drink. The pressure builds up, and it might eventually explode. This explosion could manifest in the form of stress, anxiety, or a feeling of being swamped, as we haven't released what's bottled up. The practice of right speech in Buddhism inspires us to communicate with honesty, kindness, and mindfulness. It's akin to sowing seeds of positivity. Our words can blossom into a garden of understanding and connection. By aligning our words with these principles, we construct a bridge between ourselves and others, cultivating genuine relationships. To overcome the habit of suppressing oneself, mindfulness comes in handy. Mindfulness is like a mirror. It reflects our thoughts and aids us in becoming aware of our emotions. By being present in the moment, we can observe our thoughts without judgment and express ourselves with clarity and compassion. Self-expression is not just about words. It also involves non-verbal communication such as body language and gestures. These unspoken expressions are like a covert language, conveying our thoughts and feelings even when we remain silent. By becoming aware of our non-verbal communication, we boost our ability to express ourselves genuinely. By incorporating these Buddhist teachings into our lives, we discover that authentic expression is not only freeing for us but also contributes to the well-being of others. It's like opening a window to let fresh air in. Expressing ourselves allows the light of understanding and connection to illuminate our mental space. By liberating ourselves from the habit of suppressing our feelings, we commence a journey towards authenticity, fostering a resilient and empowered mind. Habit number 4. Assigning blame to others for your issues. Assigning blame to others for our problems is like trying to run a race with a backpack full of rocks. It weighs us down and hinders our progress. This habit weakens our minds because it robs us of our power. It's akin to handing over the steering wheel of our life to someone else, instead of taking control. Buddhist teachings highlight why this habit weakens us mentally and how we can extricate ourselves from the blame game. In Buddhism, the concept of karma teaches us that our actions have repercussions. Assigning blame to others is like ignoring this law. It's refusing to acknowledge that we play a role in the unfolding of our lives. When we blame, we become mere spectators rather than active participants in our journey. Taking personal responsibility is about understanding that we possess the ability to mold our experiences. It's like being the skipper of our vessel. We may encounter tempests, but we can steer through them. When we assign blame to others, it's like denying our control, but in truth, we hold the reins. By accepting the notion that our actions carry weight, we empower ourselves to make beneficial decisions. To overcome the habit of blaming, forgiveness is key. Forgiveness isn't about approving what others did. It's about liberating ourselves from the heaviness of holding grudges. It's akin to setting down a loaded backpack. We feel more lightweight and free. Forgiving others and ourselves is a potent step towards reclaiming our personal accountability. Mindfulness, a vital practice in Buddhism, assists us in becoming aware of our thoughts and deeds. It's like illuminating a darkened path. We can see where we're heading. By being mindful, we can catch ourselves when we're on the brink of blaming and select a more empowering reaction. This shift from blaming to accountability is like swapping the rocks in our backpack for wings that help us to ascend. Incorporating these Buddhist teachings into our lives invites us to step into our power and assert control over our journey. Breaking free from the blame game isn't just about holding others accountable. It's about acknowledging our influence and capacity to cultivate a positive and resilient mindset. By steering clear of blame and welcoming personal accountability, we commence a journey towards mental fortitude and self-empowerment. Habit number 5. Daydreaming instead of visualizing. Daydreaming instead of visualizing is like constructing castles in the sky. They may be enchanting, but they lack a robust foundation. This habit debilitates our minds because it isolates us from the reality of our present moment. It's like pursuing mirages in a desert. We may never attain what we're longing for. Buddhist teachings provide insights into why this habit undermines us mentally and how we can transition from daydreams to visualization for a more anchored and positive mindset. Daydreams often involve unrealistic scenarios and wishful thinking. It's like anticipating a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, a lovely idea, but not grounded in reality. When we lose ourselves in daydreams, it's like daydreaming while overlooking the charm of the present moment. This habit weakens us because it can lead to disappointment when reality doesn't match our imagined situations. Visualization, on the other hand, involves forming mental images of attainable goals. It's like having a treasure map. We can plot a route to reach our aspirations. Buddhism emphasizes the significance of right intentions and right actions, which align with visualizing positive outcomes and taking pragmatic steps towards achieving them. By rooting our aspirations in reality, we bridge the gap between dreams and attainable goals. Buddhist teachings on impermanence remind us that change is the only constant. Daydreams often involve clinging to a fixed idea of the future, while visualization adapts to the ever-changing landscape of life. It's like riding a wave instead of trying to cling to the shore. We move with the ebb and flow of life. By acknowledging the transience of all things, we cultivate a more flexible and resilient mindset. To overcome the habit of daydreaming, mindfulness proves to be a valuable tool. It's like donning glasses that help us see the present vividly. We become conscious of our thoughts and gently steer them towards positive and realistic visualization. Mindfulness allows us to appreciate the splendor of the present moment while actively striving towards our goals. Incorporating these teachings into our lives encourages us to shift from daydreams to visualization, fostering a more optimistic and grounded mindset. By embracing the principles of impermanence and right, the capacity to recognize and manage our emotions effectively. It's like having a compass in a storm. Even though we might be disoriented, we have a tool to guide us. The teachings of Buddhism offer insights on why allowing our emotions to control us weakens us mentally, and how we can build emotional intelligence to navigate the waves of our feelings. In Buddhism, mindfulness is a potent practice that encourages us to witness our emotions without being swept away by them. It's akin to standing on the riverbank, observing the water flow. We can observe our emotions without being dragged under. When our emotions dominate us, it's like being caught in a tempest without an anchor. We get thrown around, and it becomes difficult to find our bearings. The principle of emotional intelligence involves the understanding and regulation of our emotions, which is akin to navigating a river with the help of a paddle. We can steer ourselves in the desired direction, no matter how strong the current is. Buddhism encourages us to recognize the fleeting nature of life, including the time we share with our loved ones. It's like savoring a sumptuous meal. We tend to appreciate it more when we know it won't last indefinitely. By acknowledging the transitory nature of time, we feel inspired to prioritize relationships and invest our time in those we cherish. Applying these teachings to our lives serves as a reminder that personal relationships are like the threads that bind the tapestry of our well-being. By dedicating time to our loved ones, we nurture a support network that strengthens our minds and enriches our lives. Breaking free from the habit of neglecting personal relationships enables us to sail through life's journey with companions by our side, making the voyage more joyful and fulfilling. Habit number 7. Allowing emotions to control you. Being ruled by our emotions is akin to being swept away by a robust river current. We lose control and direction. This habit weakens our minds, as unmanaged emotions can become overpowering and lead us astray. It's like being in a storm without a compass. We could lose our way in the turmoil. Buddhist teachings show us why this habit debilitates us mentally and how we can cultivate emotional intelligence to navigate our feelings currents. In Buddhism, mindfulness is a powerful practice that encourages us to observe our emotions without getting carried away by them. It's like standing on the riverbank, watching the water flow. We can witness our emotions without being submerged. When we let emotions control us, it's akin to being caught in a storm without an anchor. We get tossed around, making it challenging to find our way. The concept of emotional intelligence involves delving into the past is like walking backward. It prevents us from moving forward, causing us to stumble. This habit weakens our minds because it keeps us entrapped in a period that we cannot alter. It's like trying to rewrite a closed book, futile and frustrating. Buddhist teachings offer us an understanding of why this habit weakens us mentally and how we can find strength in embracing the present. In Buddhism, the principle of being in the here and now instructs us to let go of our past's grip. It's like realizing that we can't change the course of a river. It's continually moving and shifting. When we dwell on the past, it's like trying to hold onto sand. It slips through our fingers, leaving us feeling powerless. Surrendering to the past doesn't mean ignoring it. Instead, it means acknowledging its existence but recognizing its immutability. It's similar to cultivating a garden. We care for it, but we can't change the weather or the soil's natural composition. When we accept that some aspects of our lives are beyond our control, we liberate ourselves from continuous strife, much like unclenching a tightly held fist. To overcome the habit of dwelling in the past, mindfulness becomes our ally. Mindfulness is like a steady anchor, keeping us grounded in the present moment. By focusing on what we can influence and letting go of what we can't, we traverse the sea of uncertainty with grace and resilience. Buddhist teachings encourage us to appreciate the paradox that surrendering control leads to true empowerment. It's like understanding that by loosening our grip, we gain the strength to face life's trials. When we let go of the need to control, it's like opening our hands to receive life's offerings rather than holding on to our preconceptions. Implementing these teachings into our daily lives encourages us to lay down the heavy load of trying to control everything. By conceding the illusion of control, we paradoxically discover empowerment, like a sail catching the wind, propelling us forward with a sense of liberation. By freeing ourselves from the habit of trying to micromanage every aspect of our lives, we uncover the strength that comes with accepting life's ebbs and flows. The ninth habit is dwelling in the past. Obsessing over the past is akin to lugging around a weighty rucksack full of outdated items. It impedes our progress and makes the journey exhausting. This habit undermines our mental strength because it mires us in past events, barring us from cherishing the present or anticipating the future. It's comparable to attempting to navigate a car while persistently peering in the rearview mirror. We're prone to overlook what lies ahead. Buddhist teachings elucidate why obsessing over the past weakens us mentally and how we can unshackle ourselves from these constraints. In Buddhism, the discipline of mindfulness encourages us to inhabit the present. It's similar to throwing open windows to usher in fresh air, dispelling the mustiness of dwelling on past events. When we fixate on bygone times, it's akin to attempting to walk backward. We are liable to trip and lose our direction. By releasing the past, we make room for fresh experiences and prospects. Dwelling on the past also binds us to old wounds and resentments. It's comparable to keeping a wound swathed in a bandage long after it has healed. It prevents us from wholeheartedly embracing life. Buddhism advocates the practice of forgiveness, not only for others but also for ourselves. Forgiveness is like unlocking a door to discharge the past, enabling us to step into the present, unencumbered. Buddhist teachings on impermanence remind us that everything is transient. It's like observing a river's flow. The water is ever changing. When we cling to the past, it's like attempting to halt the river's flow, causing it to stagnate and lose its vitality. By recognizing the fleeting nature of all things, we liberate ourselves from the chains tethering us to past experiences. To counter the habit of dwelling on the past, self-compassion is critical. It's akin to extending a comforting word to a friend in need. We are equally deserving of this kindness. By treating ourselves with compassion and understanding, we escape from the self-imposed incarceration of regret and guilt. The past then evolves into a mentor rather than a warden. Incorporating these teachings into our lives equips us to release the chains binding us to the past. By embracing mindfulness, forgiveness, and self-compassion, we pave a path toward liberation. Ridding ourselves of the habit of dwelling on the past enables us to step into the present with lightness and openness, prepared to savor life's unfolding moments. The 10th habit is fretting over others' words and actions. Worrying about others' sayings and doings is like hauling around a hefty backpack crammed with other people's thoughts. It burdens our minds and stifles our authenticity. This habit weakens us, as it links our self-worth to external views, like a boat jostled by every passing wave. Buddhist teachings provide insight into why this habit weakens us mentally and how we can free ourselves from the bonds of constant judgment. In Buddhism, the practice of equanimity encourages us to maintain balance amidst the fluctuating tides of praise and criticism. It's like standing on solid ground while the winds of opinion blow. We remain steady. When we overly concern ourselves with others' opinions, it's like erecting our home on unstable ground, making it vulnerable to every passing storm. Cultivating equanimity enables us to develop resilience in the face of external judgments. Judging ourselves based on others' viewpoints is like allowing someone else to hold our mirror. We perceive ourselves through their eyes, not our own. Buddhism underscores the importance of self-acceptance and authenticity. It's like donning our favorite attire instead of striving to fit into someone else's wardrobe. We express ourselves genuinely. By releasing the need for constant approval, we liberate ourselves from the constraints of others' expectations. Mindfulness, a central theme in Buddhism, aids us in becoming aware of our thoughts and reactions when we fret about what others say. Becoming preoccupied with what others express is like meandering aimlessly in a labyrinth of viewpoints. Mindfulness functions as a beacon of guidance, aiding us in rediscovering our authentic selves. By being fully present, we can witness these anxieties without becoming ensnared by them. To combat the habit of obsessing over others' opinions, self-love emerges as a potent remedy. It's analogous to sowing the seeds of kindness within ourselves. These seeds blossom into a garden of self-acceptance. By recognizing our inherent value and embracing our unique attributes, we forge a protective barrier against the assaults of external judgments. Implementing these teachings in our lives frees us from the mental debility associated with fretting over others' words and actions. By practicing equanimity, cherishing authenticity, and nurturing self-love, we sever the chains tying us to external viewpoints. Breaking the habit of perpetual judgment allows us to chart our own trajectory, steering towards a life directed by inner fortitude and authenticity. The doctrines of Buddhism offer an exhaustive roadmap for overcoming habits that diminish our mental strength. By incorporating mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom into the weave of our everyday lives, we can rise above detrimental patterns and foster lasting mental resilience. This exploration serves as a call to commence a transformative journey, infusing the profound principles of Buddhism into the fabric of our existence. May the wisdom found in these teachings light the way to a resilient and empowered mind, inspiring a life abundant with purpose, compassion, and joy.